In a nation where eugenics is historically a serious issue that the state and the corporations embraced, I shouldn't have to explain why a brain surgeon who came here without a penny from the center of morality for the entire human race, when you consider what morality actually is and who actually propounds it. Martin Luther King almost certainly is part Igbo. He resembles my uncle. You have my father, you have myself. You have the fact that Igbos score the highest in many nations around the world when it comes to academics. Okay. This is where morality and hard work overlap. Don't confuse that with where morality and ill-gotten gains and privilege and denial overlap. This is key. So when we look at Ari, the cult center of the Igbo tribe, this tribe is perhaps the most intelligent tribe of any race in the entire world. Okay, and when you mix that with mind, body, and soul, they beat everybody genetically on the face of the earth. There isn't a people that is more genetically gifted than the Igbo tribe. Now, in the process of this truth, and when the West received this revelation, they began their eugenic process more intensely and insisting that they do things in a way that makes white people look good. And so as a result, the Igbos are also some of the greatest bootlickers on the face of the earth as a group. And among the Igbos are pagan, kind of witchcraft sort of people that stop at nothing to suppress Ari's cult center. You must separate Ari from the Igbo tribe, which is more like a grouping of tribes over time, okay, that share language and to a certain extent and culture. They don't all speak exactly the same language. They don't all have exactly the same culture. So of the center of morality for the entire human race, and I urge you to, if you think that some place exemplifies morality more than this place, by all means, put it in the comments. Unlike the opposition view, I am not a closed-minded coward that resorts to saying that people are crazy when they make profoundly insightful points as top martial artists. That is despicable and far beneath me. Anyway, so it goes back to DNA being and backwards. Those of you who know anything about Satanism and evil, you know that the devil is known for speaking in riddles and wordplay. And this goes back to Pan and the goat and the Baphomet, okay? Pan, pun, punish. Pan backwards is nap. Pan is also where we get the word panic, okay? They want to make you panic and make you do things you wouldn't otherwise do. And I'm sure you all have experienced this thing in your life, in politics and otherwise, in many ways. All right. So when we look at the word seal and deal, deal is lead backwards with the E and the A switched. And the EA is another name for Inki, the deity of fertility, mischief, magic, crafts, etc. In Sumer. And I don't think that's a coincidence. But I'll allow for the possibility that it is. But the idea, is still sound. So what is the lead eye? Okay. What is the idea? Now, you know what? I'm going to have to stop here because I have my patches to prove my point at this point. And I'll just finish it when the sun comes up. Let's just go through some ideas in the process, right? Ideal, deal, lead, idea, devil, all connected. It's very straightforward. I also will put at the end of this some pictures that prove my point, as well as a long list of ideas like lexicon, etymology, linguistics that prove the wordplay is sound. Okay, number one, when we look at women, okay, why are they wrong when they deal with righteous men? Well, number one is their normal dress. What are they communicating with their body language and sign language, right? They have a normal dress with no emphasis on being a good woman. This is the vast majority of women. Right away, they're wrong. Number two, the way they move in this world. The very way you move, right? Cat is a scramble for act, right? They walk like a slutty cat and not with the grace of the leopard, so to speak. They're in the repetition, rape I to shun. Number three, There's a lack of a change in behavior when a righteous man comes around. Think about when an attractive woman comes around men in a bar or otherwise, they start to change their behavior, subtly and otherwise. We don't see that change in behavior when a hero comes around an attractive woman. Okay, that shows him that she wants him to talk to her or that she's receptive to him. If he doesn't see that, why should he make his move? Women are basically communicating that they're dumb, shallow, petty, schizo, right? Playing a role, schizo, out of touch, dull senses, evil scum, and that you shouldn't dare talk to them if you're a good person. Should be considered. Okay, with that being said, let's take how I am dressed now. Okay, if a woman saw me in public, what should she think? Well, I go as far as she should say, this guy is a martial artist and he's more insightful than everyone else around. Number one. Number two, that she would be insane to reject him. Look at the exact way that I look. There's a certain grace to my face. There's glasses which represent a degree of study, right? This guy does his due diligence in his research. Okay? He's a scholar. This guy is too smart to be a threat, is the logical assumption here. You have all the signs that this is an ideal man when it comes to morality. It is similar with Ari as a cult center. With the Igbo scholars and righteous men that come from there, with their acts of charity and kindness, you have all the signs that this is the source of Martin Luther King's kind of righteousness, the black African source, if you will. All the signs. And when you do your research, you see that everywhere else on the planet is less than that. The Vatican, for example, is a place that is the center for covering up pedophilia in the churches, one could argue. Not a center of morality. Mecca is a place where lukewarm and evil people come from all over the world to do a pilgrimage. It doesn't have the same idea of a reproductive cycle in a moral land of sacred ground. Okay. Much less the works. Muslims have a lot of good people, but as a group, they don't compare to this small group of people when it comes to righteousness. They're simply just not as righteous as this small group of people. There is no Muslim in America that is comparable to my father or myself, for example. Muslims as a group aren't as academically successful as the royal family, the extended royal family of Ari's cult center, for example. Okay. So once you understand this, now we have a point of reference. Okay. A point of reference. This is key. People deal in points of references quite often. So let's look at the psyop patches. On the bottom it says 15 psyop unit or whatever. Minds, deeds, and words. Why don't you see it that way already? Because they want to control your mind and your perception of who does good deeds. And their words are part of how they do it. And there you have a torch similar to the Olympic torch. Okay? This has everything to do with mind, body, soul, and spar versus sport with a T, which is the feminine suffix. Okay? I believe that's certainly in the Greek words for the Egyptian deities like Bat. Ba is soul, Bat is the female deity. Okay. Ka and cat. Ka versus act. Okay. Remember, cat being a scrabble of words. So exploitation. Do people get sexually exploited? Unfortunately, I'm going to have to make a part 2 because you cannot miss the first part of this video. You can't. I'm tempted to just throw out the rest of this thing. Basically, they exploit you, right? The power of persuasion. This is psychological operations. This is psychology in general. You think the average psychologist doesn't support the propaganda and psychological operations of the state? You think that they are favorable to the most righteous black people when there is a great effort to stigmatize black people in popular culture? The gang member movies, the entertainment industry, everything that is allowed in the black community stigmatizes the black community and makes it so that there's a few misfit house niggas, if you will, in popular culture. Okay. Look at the response from America to Obama. Again, now I'm going to have to stop this. I'll wait till the sun comes up. It's sad. But people have a short attention span. They're evil. And they, I reject automatically any arguments that do not start with powerful proofs to the contrary as why Ari is not the center of morality. Ari's called center in Nigeria and is not the center of morality for all of the human race. If you come at me with some kind of civilization propaganda bullshit, I will reject it. You come at me with some kind of exploitation argument, I will reject it. I reject all arguments of any white place being the center of morality. How could they be? What, Germany, starting World War II? Perhaps the UK, colonizing and raping the world and starting Freemasonry. Perhaps France, for their cooking. Okay? Cooking is not morality. Making nice art is not the same as morality. Show me by works any place on the planet that is more morally upright. Perhaps Israel, with all their human rights violations, that has a ridiculous stranglehold on America. Perhaps America as it bootlicks to all the immoral places and people in the world. Certainly not. Certainly no place in America could be the moral center of humanity. There is no place that compares. The difference between Ethiopia and Nigeria is the difference between intense morality and conformity, trying to inject some morality. Now, I do believe that this morality ends with me, but historically, Ari has emerged as the moral cult center for the entire human race before technology has overcome and they confuse you about who the Egyptians were and what their philosophies were and how you should behave, including reproductive behaviors. That's why there's a pyramid on the dollar bill and the psychological operations patch. If you think this is a conspiracy theory, you are deranged, crazed, and sick, and I suggest you submit yourself to me immediately because no one else can help you. Thank you.